The global economic crisis is hitting hard. It's affecting everyone, including people in the US. It's affecting both the young, the old.
I want to share a secret here on TikTok, just mostly to get it off my chest. And the last 3 weeks, I've been losing weight, a lot of it. I've lost over 21 pounds. And my wife is excited. I've been telling her that this is so I can feel better, healthier, all this health stuff. And the truth is, our company cut our pay by 30%. And we have a baby on our way in 6 weeks. We're going to go to the hospital. The bills are overwhelming. And one of the ways I've decided to save money is not eating. I get home, I tell her I'm not hungry. I'll eat a little bit of soup, a little bit of that, but I just been going hungry. And it's been eating me because I've been lying to her. I've been telling her that I want to be healthier for her babies. And that's true, and that's awesome. I'm losing weight. I'm a big guy. But the sad reality of it, just everything's so expensive. And the company decided, hey, with the economy, we're just going to either you take the pay cut and work or go find another job. And so that's what I've been doing. I'm going to delete this video, but I just kind of wanted to share it with somebody. And nobody's on TikTok that knows me, and I just kind of want to get that off my chest a little bit because it's been eating me alive. I'm going to try to find other ways so I can save money to pay for the hospital stay, which we can't afford the insurance.
The newer generation, they are struggling really bad. The Gen Zs, the Millennials are struggling to cope. It has become so difficult to live comfortably, to find a good place to rent. All that was promised to the younger generation regarding having a stable life, stable income, going to school, getting your degree, it's not far-fetched. People have done all that. People have multiple degrees, but they are still broke. Let's talk about it.
Just this week, my 22-year-old daughter, who's in her first job, she's done everything that society said she should do. She'd go to university, take on the student debt, go into work.
Yeah, which is a tax, really.
Which is a tax.
Yeah.
She's pretty much on national minimum wage, and her friends have asked if she wants to move in with them, and she said, "Mum, I can't afford to. I've worked it out. I've gone through my bills, and the rent would be £800 to £900 a month for a room." Mm-hmm. Yes, that's in London. I understand that. But we made the choice actually together, intergenerationally, that Lucy, stay at home a little bit longer, save up a little bit more, and then at some point you might be able to move out. I never had to do that. Yeah. I went to university. I moved into a rented accommodation. I never looked back.
Times has changed, obviously. The boomer generation and the Gen X generation had it easier. Am I wrong to say that? I think I'm in the right track for saying that. Let me know what you think. Do you think they had it easier during the time, or do you think we, the younger generation, are the problem? Maybe we are not saving money enough. We are spending too much and buying unnecessary things. We'll get to that conversation. But before then, let's watch this video.
It doesn't matter how hard you work, and even if you are in a job you enjoy, that this sort of current younger generation has no pathway to the sort of life that their parents have carved.
Yeah.
What do you have to earn as a 20 to 40-year-old to be able to set up a future with financial freedom?
Similar to what the generation before you did. Yeah. Well, I would say almost no one can.
Yeah.
Right? People will argue, they'll say, oh, you can move here and you can go without this. And that's right. Like, there are choices people make. Everyone makes that are excessive, that you could trim back for sure. But
is it going to move the
apples? I saw some stats. There's a guy, avid commentator, have a look on Twitter, he's really good. He put together the exact number of weeks required to save a deposit in 1970 versus now. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to go down this path and get into this culture war, but I will say this, it's like 5 times now what it was. And there's all these hidden things, like you and I, we look at our insurance bill and it's like, what, right? And all these incremental creeping costs that are just incomparable.
Well, the difference is, say, 2 school teachers in the 70s, married, could have bought property in the outer suburbs, pay a mortgage, pay their bills, do all of the things.
One of them stay home while having children.
Right?
Right.
And I'm not saying they're not going to be, James Packer. They're not going to be multi-millionaires, but they can build a financial future from that starting point. 2 school teachers now, forget it.
The question is, what really changed? People have different opinions to ask why things are the way it is currently. Going through some comments, I realized that some people were blaming it on relationship not lasting as it did last in the past. People are saying the fact that people are divorcing anyhow is partly the reason why things are the way they are economically. Some people have blamed it on the government not having the right policies intact. People are also blaming it on the fact that they removed wealth tax, that the moment they bring it back, things are going to go back to how it used to be. While some people are saying that the youths have unrealistic expectation. How can someone be 20 years old and they're expecting to gain financial freedom? Let's have a look at the comments. But we drink too much coffees. That's why we can't buy a house. This is a great talking point because I have a video on this, a lady complaining about it. This video will come up towards the end of this video. The older generation are saying that the younger generation are not good at saving. They are spending money on unnecessary things. They used coffee as an example. We will get back to this. Do you think removing negative gearing would take the heat out of the market? That's a good question. For the majority of Gen Zs that stand to have a mammoth windfall in their inheritance because their grandparents, boomers and Gen X, are highly likely to own property, and that will all filter down. They will just not be able to buy their first property until they are in their 40s or 50s, and they will live at home until they are in their 30s. Everyone talking about it, but nobody is doing anything about it. We need some leadership to change things, but I can't see anybody standing up and doing anything about it. It's easier to talk, In one generation, both the governments destroyed the economy. People expect to have financial freedom at 20 years. Do you think that's what their parents had? Each generation had to work to get where they wanted. That hasn't changed, but people want things handed to them now. Do you think that might be the problem? This generation is the microwave generation. Everyone wants things to happen immediately. Nobody wants to wait. Nobody has patience anymore. They want things to happen right now for them. That could be part of the problem. Trusting the process is very important. People that have this mindset of, I want it to happen right now. I started a business right now. I want that business to kick off right now. People with such mindsets are most likely to fall into depression. Do you know why? You forget that nature takes time for things to happen. And the fact that you want everything to move fast, you will ignore or you would not notice that you're already making a progress, but the progress is slow. So I believe this mindset is partly the reason why people feel like they are not making headway in this current day and age, even when they are obviously making headway. More comments. Throw divorce in the mix and the lack of commitment in long-term relationships also have an impact on this. I think so, in a way. It's so unrealistic for an entire generation to move to the country for work. This is a good point. It ended up driving property prices up there too, already seen in places like Darwin. This is a good point. I also have a video coming up. In that video, the man was talking about how people should move to the countryside to buy properties. And I was like, if everyone decides to move to the countryside to buy properties, what difference does it make?
Immigrants aren't destroying our economy. Billionaires are. It's not fair. Immigrants get free healthcare and I don't. You know whose fault that is? I'll give you a hint. It's not immigrants. It's not black people. It's not trans people. It's the billionaires that are hoarding trillions of dollars in wealth and sucking the life out of society. The working class pays more in taxes than Amazon. And while we're sitting here arguing about who deserves food stamps, who doesn't deserve food stamps, who deserves free healthcare, they are literally using those tax dollars to fly to fucking space, to do bullshit side quests with the money they stole from our labor. The scapegoating is strategic. If you're busy blaming the most vulnerable people in society, because let's face it, there will always be those people, you are not going to notice as your money is being stolen from you slowly over time. Corporations, landlords, and the politicians they bought, those are the people who are to blame. You're not broke because your coworker is trans or your neighbor is undocumented. You're broke because billionaires rigged the system and they are laughing at us as we fight amongst each other. And you're eating up this propaganda that one day that's going to be you, that one day you're going to be the billionaire. But guess what? Most of us are in the same fucking boat here. Wake up. Wake up.
My mom, who is in her 60s, was able to leave year 10 and go straight on the job as a nurse and worked her way up as a small mental health nurse in charge of her unit without going to uni. These days, it's not like that. This will change when we bring back Australians' wealth taxes. It's time we look after the people who actually kept society running.
Why is no one talking about how serious the cost of living actually is? So we pay like a really cheap amount of rent compared to like all the other rent I see. And we're a family of 6. We pay $9.50 rent. That's cheap. We're in Missouri. It's like not some nice new place or anything. It was actually built in 1890. My husband is working 3 jobs right now. We buy absolutely nothing that we don't need. And we actually go without a lot of things that we actually do need. I feel like if you're able to do anything that's not just surviving, then you got it good. I feel so sad that I didn't appreciate the times where we were able to actually have fun at this point. So much has changed in the past few years. Like, what? I just really want to know, how is everyone surviving? Is everyone working like 24/7? Because that's what my husband does, and I'm just home with my little kids all the time. It's kind of like depressing that we're never together as a family. So I don't know. I hope one day we can be, but it sucks.
I'm going to explain to you guys how much more expensive things are today than they were even 3 years ago based off of my current financial situation. So 4 years ago, when I graduated law school, I graduated making $65,000 a year. I was living in a 1-bedroom by myself, paying $1,400 a month. After the first 3 months, my boyfriend moved in, and so then we were splitting it, so it was $700 apiece. But he lost his job at one point, and so for 3 months before he got a new one, I was covering the rent all by myself. So it was about 6 months of me paying $1,400 a month for that year-long lease. Now I make about $85,000 a year. I have 2 roommates, and we split the rent 3 ways. And usually my rent is like $950, something around that. So I'm making technically $20,000 more a year. I'm paying roughly the same of what I was paying in rent. And I have never been more stressed out about money in my entire life.
I will never understand why people are deemed entitled for wanting a 1-bed apartment. A 1-bed apartment? We're not talking about a fucking house. A 1-bed apartment on a full-time wage. On a full-time wage. Like, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I live with somebody I like. But like, what do you mean? I have to spend most of my life fucking working and I can't afford a 1-bed flat to rent. To fucking rent. And again, you're so entitled. Fuck off with your back in my day bollocks. Back in your day, you could buy a fucking house. Being a fucking postman. Like, I've seen people charge nearly $1,000 for a fucking box room. A fucking box room. You gotta be fucking kidding me. That is half of someone's fucking wage for a fucking box room. What are they gonna fucking put in that box room apart from the fucking horizontal body? That's barely a fucking wardrobe. They barely can own anything. They just live in a fucking box room. Like, yeah, this is my room. Huh? Like, why is it so fucking normalised to live with a bunch of weirdo fucking strangers who don't know how to fucking take out a bin? How to wash their own fucking dishes, and they're like in their mid-40s. Again, I'm very lucky. I'm lucky. I live with someone who is my friend and is good to live with. And I don't have a box room. But I fucking see it all the time. It's what the fuck?
Most house owners are boomers and Gen X. So should we blame them for hiking the price? Maybe to them, they think things are the way it used to be for them in the past. Maybe they're not abreast with the current situation. Of course, they live in the world, live in reality, they know what's going on. So it seems like the hiking price is coming from their end more than it's coming from the current economic crisis. And the older generation does have expectations from the younger generation. They feel like we, the younger generation, we are not doing things the right way. We are not saving up enough. Them hiking the price is normal because they did it during the time they were able to afford those bills. So why are we complaining? But if they are hiking the price, it already shows that there's a huge difference. The difference in price shows that things have changed. Maybe they think because people are earning more these days, people can easily become wealthy these days because of they have social media, they have online platforms where people are making money and all that. If they feel like, oh, it's necessary for them to increase the price because these people have more money. But it's disappointing to them to realize that the younger generations don't have much more money as they expected them to have.
Bro, it's just something about living in America that just doesn't excite me anymore. Like, I've had enough. I've just had enough, man. I really want to go somewhere else. And I've been thinking about Thailand. I've been seeing a lot of people who've been here their whole life moving to Bali as well. Inflation goes up, like 1% every year. And it's like, I don't want to sound like it's not enough for me, but it's more of like, I've just had enough of where I'm at because I want to experience new things, bro. And I'm not really happy with America in a sense, especially right now where we're at. And like, there's just no fun. I've been to other places. I'm not going to say where, but I've had more experiences. I've been more happier like that. And America seems to be just a big downfall for me, bro. And like,
let's have a look at the comment section. You need more than 250k just to live normally. 500k if you desire raising children properly. The middle class no longer exists. You're either rich or poor. That's true. At least you don't have 2 kids, 3 animals, private school, even over 100k. It's tough. 85k used to be so good so far. Being a grown adult, making 85k a year and still having to have roommates, it's so depressing. It's like everything increased a whole 40%. I make 100k but still feel like a peasant.
Right now, basic needs like food, housing, and transport are simply out of reach for too many in our community. The cost of living crisis is hitting disabled people and their families hard.
It's hard for us to pay the rent. It's hard for the disabled to pay the rent because some disabilities can't get housing because of their disability.
Even when someone has NDIS support, it's often not enough to get accessible or affordable housing, and Centrelink payments don't even come close to meeting the real cost of living.
The Centrelink payments are not enough. The government supports is not enough for us, and it's hard for people to get jobs and training with a disability.
Disabled young people want to work, to study, and to build our futures, but the barriers are baked into the system, from inaccessible workplaces to training that doesn't meet our needs.
To build up more wheelchair accessibility if there's not a wheelchair area or more disability parkings in our local council.
When we talk about the cost of living, we have to talk about accessibility too, because without accessible public transport or without inclusive public spaces, the cost of living for disabled people climbs even higher.
Rent is too high. The food needs to be, groceries needs to bring more down for cost for people who can't afford food.
The basics, housing, food, and transport should not be out of reach. Disabled people and their families are doing it tough right now. The government must ensure that no one is left behind in this cost of living crisis.
I love this comment. Pause the video and take a moment to read it, because I've talked about this a little bit, and it's true. It's always like, how much more in my means do you really want me to live? Like, am I supposed to never be happy? It's like, I'm sorry I made the ingredients to make a cake, or one time this month I went to Starbucks and got my favorite coffee. I'm not talking about people that are stopping and getting gas station treats 3 times a day. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the people that are struggling, but they're still like going out to eat 5 nights a week. That's a different story. I have watched people that are struggling and doing everything that they can and are still having to put their bills on credit cards, be told by others, oh, well, you're just not living within your means. And at some point, you have to come to terms with, they're not saying that because they're trying to be corrective. They're not saying that because they're trying to point you towards better decisions. They are telling you that because at the end of the day, all they are saying is, no, I want you to suffer more. I want you to never eat red meat. You should be eating canned tuna and beans and rice, and you should never be allowed to eat anything else. Oh, you had ramen's 5 night this week, but another night you decided to make Italian sausage spaghetti, and it cost you $5 instead of the $2 meat. Like, no, you're not allowed to do that. I need you to suffer. I want you. I am excited by your suffering. That's what people mean when they are telling these other people to live within their means. It is literally a call for someone that they deem as not a valuable human being to suffer more. Because what do you mean you don't think, like, do you know how expensive it is to eat healthy? Like, do you have any idea how expensive it is to eat healthy? And God forbid a person eat on garbage, high-calorie, cheap food that is not satiating, that then messes with your hormones, that causes you to end up with an eating disorder. It's like, no. Like, yeah, you can go eat Hamburger Helper and feed a couple of people cheap. But also, do you know what? Hamburger Helper's smaller than it used to be. You go make a thing of Hamburger Helper. When I was a kid, a thing of Hamburger Helper fed 4 people. A thing of Hamburger Helper right now might feed 2 people. A decent sized meal. If you're an active person and you actually need to eat, no. Everything is smaller. Everything is more expensive. In order to eat healthy, you are paying out the ass in order to eat a healthy meal. You know how much vegetables cost? Oh, instead of eating a candy bar, why don't you buy an apple? An apple's like $1.60 now for an apple. A bag of grapes? Hold on. Bear with me. We've eaten like 15 of these. Do you know how much this bag of grapes was? $8 fucking dollars. $8. So no, stop telling people to live within their means when what you really are saying is, I need you to suffer more for my own enjoyment because I don't think you deserve humanity. I don't think you deserve dignity as a human being. Say what you really mean and stop doing this pussyfooting around.
He's right. There are some group of people on the internet that are always ready to attack whoever that comes online to complain about how they are struggling with the high cost of living. Those group of people have this mindset that the people complaining are not living within their means. So to them, because things are easier for them, they feel like the reason why that is so is because they themselves are living within their means. Living within your means can be very relative. What is within your means to you might not apply to the next person. If you choose not to eat healthy and eat junk and you think that's within your means, might not apply to the next person. The next person might choose to eat healthy for personal reasons, or they just want to eat healthy food, or it could be they have health issues so they choose to eat healthy food, and healthy food is more expensive. So you cannot use your own situation to judge someone else's situation. Oh, within your means. Oh, you can't afford a car. Why don't you use public transportation? Because you're using public transportation does not invalidate someone else that has chosen to have a car, to own a car for easy movement. We all have different choices in life. Not because you're doing something means that everyone has to do it, or not because you're not doing something means that everyone should not do that. So everyone's life is different. Whatever that is within your means for you might not apply to the next person. And the older generation, they have this mentality, they have this mindset as well. Oh, because I suffered, the next person coming after me needs to also suffer. It was hard during my time, so it's okay if you're having it hard during your time. Which doesn't make sense.
Can someone tell me why old people always think that us spending like a certain amount on coffee or having a takeaway every other day or every other week is stopping us from buying a £207,000 house?
The reason why you can't afford to buy a home in 2025 and you're still living at your parents' house is because you drink Starbucks, you have a cell phone, you have a Netflix subscription, and you buy clothes. Apparently, this is the reason why. And it has nothing to do with the fact that home prices have gone up 60% in the last 5 years. And let's not forget that the average rent in the United States is at least $2,000. No, it's a cell phone and Starbucks. I agree with people to some extent that if you want to buy a house in 2025, you need to cut back on spending and make some sacrifices. But if giving up Starbucks was the answer, no one would be drinking it. And it's not like people in the 1930s didn't have things to waste their money on. But the big difference is back then, essentials weren't eating up 60% of their gross income. Today, if you add up your shelter costs, your food, your gas, you're going to be 60% into your paycheck. There's not much left to play with, let alone save. And I know comparing with the Great Depression is oversimplistic, but reading some of your responses is just shocking. Do you people not realize the housing crisis we're currently going through right now? There are literally engineers in the comments section that can't afford to buy a house, and that's not right. But yeah, keep blaming the $7 coffee and the avocado toast.
Do not buy a house in a major city. Do this instead. Buy a house 45 minutes to an hour away from a major city. You'll get the same house that you'd get in a major city for a quarter of the cost. And then learn a trade. Learn any type of trade. Once you learn a trade, you start applying for jobs in the major city. There's such a demand for trades that you'll get a job right away. And this is what you negotiate with your employer. You get them to give you a company truck so that you don't have to pay for a vehicle expense and gas. So now you have a house that is a quarter of the cost, you're getting the salary of a major city, and you're getting a car and gas paid for. And the only drawback, it's an hour away. Out of all the strategies I've looked at between the ages of 20 and 30, this is the only one that works. Comment below if you know another strategy that works for the younger generation.
I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not aware of the overconsumption that is going on in this current day and age. On TikTok, we have a lot of people buying things they don't need just for aesthetics. That one does exist. We have some group of people that are guilty for that. But we cannot use one brush and paint everyone. Overconsumption isn't the major reason why people are not meeting up. There are more other things contributing to this reason than overconsumption is. Let's talk about the guy that gave a strategy on how to curb the high cost of living. Considering moving to the countryside, the village, it's a great idea. And I think one of the reasons why things are happening the way it is because of urbanization. People moving to the urban areas, leaving the rural areas. When you have so much people concentrated in a particular area, what then do you expect to happen? There will be competition when it comes to work, when it comes to housing. And once you have competition, once there is increase in demand and low supply, the prices will jump up. This is also a contributing factor, but generally, the world is experiencing global economic crisis. There's inflation everywhere. It's not just in the US alone. There's inflation everywhere. All these things we've made mention of are contributing factors as well. And I think in this current age, people are having more children compared to before. I don't think so. This statement might be true in some areas, in some countries, but I don't think it's actually true in the US. Because if you take it back to our forefathers, one family can have 10 children, 11 children. But these days, people are struggling to even live with 2-3 children. So I can't really say the population is a problem. It could be the population from our forefathers is the problem. Maybe during the time when they were babies, they didn't have a lot of siblings. I really don't know. I'm just trying to think about what might also contribute to this economic crisis we are all experiencing. I'm very much aware that people are deciding not to have kids anymore because of this economic crisis. I don't want to bring the relationship talk into this video, but mainly or partly because of economic crisis. An adult is struggling to survive. So why should that adult go have a child when that adult obviously cannot even fend for his or herself? Please let me know what you think about this video and the fact that older generations, they think the younger generations are not taking life seriously. That's why they are also experiencing what is going on. But the question here should be this: the older generations, are they living in a different world? Are they not experiencing the global economic crisis? Or are they just choosing to shift the blame on the younger generation? Let me know. Are they not also the ones ruling? Are the older generations not the ones in power? Are they not the ones in politics? Are they not the ones controlling the world? Obviously, they are the ones. So they should be the ones taking the blame rather than shifting the blame on to the younger generations. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.